Good morning, guys. As you can tell, there's been a lot of changes since the last video. It's actually been such a long time since I posted, but a lot's been going on. I'm in a new apartment, so it's been super hectic just moving in out of that small East Village studio I was living in with another roommate. So getting everything out through that narrow doorway, oh my god, it was a crime. But we're here now. And I have a lot to talk about with you guys. A lot of new updates. But I look a little rough right now, so I'm gonna get ready real quick. Okay. But if you guys have been following my journey, I was living in a 200 square foot space studio apartment in East Village with another roommate here in New York, and I'm telling you, that is probably one of the toughest things I've ever done, sharing such a tight space with another man. It was pretty bad. Like, we shared the same bed frame. I had the top of the mattress and he would have the pull-out section, and whenever we used the bathroom, we'd have to like hop over each other. So that was that. I think we both had a point where we were like, okay, we are two grown-ass men. We gotta have our own space. And so we parted ways. There was no beef or whatsoever. It was a very mature decision for both of us. We're still friends, but I think this was the right decision for me. I am so proud of myself. And I know living in New York City isn't like the biggest achievement, or like living in a studio apartment where I don't have to share a roommate. The fact is, I know where I came from in Missouri. I absolutely hated it. I struggled with bad acne that destroyed like my self-esteem and everything, and with finding friends too. So seeing myself in this position, which is such a crazy difference to back then, I'm just really proud of myself, and it really is fulfilling. So in light of that, I wanted to write a little letter to my younger self to let him know that whatever he's going through, it's not set in stone. Everything has a reason why it happens, and it's all purposeful in the end. So here is a little letter to my younger self. Okay, so here's my story. I grew up most of my life in Missouri, the great old Midwest, whatever. But I absolutely hated it. Okay, maybe hate is a strong word, but to be honest, I felt extremely depressed and trapped living there. Most of my high school and college years has been a series of trying everything and becoming anything so I could fit into the mold that almost every guy seemed to be living. In high school, if you weren't playing football, you were supposed to be in some sort of sport, buzz your head, go to house parties on the weekends, and just get totally trashed. And in college, you joined a frat, became a follower of Saturdays Are for the Boys, played golf, and wore knee-high shorts with boat shoes to go to the lake. And not to say that any of these things are wrong, but to me it just felt like I was out of place, because I was just the complete opposite of that. I was that guy that stayed inside most of the time because I was obsessed with skincare, from battling with acne, and I also secretly loved wearing makeup for the same reason that I wanted to cover it up, but also because it looked cool. And I was super into fashion, experimenting with different piercings, colored hair, chokers, but we won't speak on that. Hats, beanies, jeans, whatever it was. I wanted to push every boundary that I had. But for this reason, I had trouble making any deep connections with the friends around me. From trying countless student college ministries to joining and quitting a frat to business orgs, I just could never find the people that just got me. And then there was this moment that just flipped the switch. I was watching a hip hop dance video tutorial because, honestly, I just wanted to try it out. But one of my roommates then walked in and made a comment calling it gay, and I was stunned. That's when I knew this place, this culture, everything around me was the complete opposite of what I wanted to be and who I was. And that moment was really the push I just needed. I clocked out mentally. It was time for me to leave. Now I am here living in New York City, the dream city that I've always been dreaming since like Missouri. I couldn't be like any more happier, like for real. I know it sounds super cheesy, but seriously, like this city, it's so diverse. I don't feel judged at all whatsoever. And if anything, being different here is kind of embraced, and it's probably my favorite part of it. Like I could literally walk around doing makeup in public, which I literally was just doing like not too long ago. And
nobody really looks because nothing's that crazy, you know? So I don't know, diversity here is celebrated, being different is unique, and I like it. I really do. And so, but actually let's walk and talk because I'm holding all these heavy groceries. Let's go. So yeah, I am now here living in my dream city, New York City. Oh, I just bumped into a guy. Hey Pigeon, do you give a fuck if I do makeup? They just don't care, but that's why I love it. Oh my God, it's extremely loud here and I am bombarded with groceries, so let's just go home and talk.
All right, so we got most of the apartment in. Look, he's so tired. Desong and Ian and my girlfriend Lena put the work in, but most of it's set up. We have the couch, bed. I'm just waiting on the bed frame, but we have the couch, we got the plants, the lamp, the table, the TV, the Wi-Fi, shower, everything. But this is what it looks like right now. And we are gonna celebrate with something good. So let's see.
Let's go.
Oh, all right, boom.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers. Congratulations, Kai.
Who do you think has the greatest character development?
In terms of fixing?
Yes.
In terms of what?
I also think the difference between back then when I was using skincare to my reasoning now is a lot more different too. Back then was a lot more from like fear and like I was just trying to not break out as much as possible. But these days it's more because I actually genuinely enjoy trying out new products and just collecting them in my bathroom and seeing them all neatly set up. I don't know, it's really fun. Maybe it's become more of a hobby, but yeah, let me tell you guys my little acne journey.
I'm not gonna lie, acne was one of the hardest things I ever faced. It wasn't just about the breakouts, it became the very thing that shattered my self-esteem. And honestly, it hit me hardest during my freshman year of college, right when I was supposed to be out making new friends, going to parties, tailgates, whatever it was, and then just enjoying the freedom of a fresh start. But instead, I locked myself away in my dorm room because I didn't want anyone looking at my face. Not at all the bumps, the scars, the uneven texture that all told a story I didn't want written all over my face. And what was supposed to be the best years of my life ended up feeling like a slow 2-year spiral, shaping how I saw myself and what I thought I was worth. In conversations, I could barely focus because I thought people weren't really listening to me but just dissecting my skin. Every glance, it felt like a spotlight on everything I hated about my reflection. But after a lot of trial and error and way too many skincare products, I was able to finally clear my skin, thankfully. But here's the thing. The biggest shift didn't happen on my face, it happened inside of me. I learned to meet the real Kai for the first time, the flawed, amazing, work in progress Kai. And I realized that my obsession with having perfect skin, which social media only made it worse, was never actually realistic. Because honestly, nobody's skin is perfect. The real breakthrough was learning that my confidence doesn't come from a clear complexion, but comes from a fully embracing myself as I am, unapologetically and unashamed. Because I wasn't born to be perfect, I was born to be real. And that is enough. And since we're on the topic of acne, even though it was like a really rough period in my life, I'm not gonna lie, it did lead to something that I learned to really love, and that is makeup. Initially, it started in high school. I would sneak into my sister's room to steal all her foundation and concealer to use it to cover up my marks. And let me tell you guys, I was so bad at doing it looking back. And no wonder I had girls in my class mocking me about it. I say it jokingly now, but where I grew up in Missouri, guys were expected to be into things like sports. So when there's a skinny little Asian boy in class with a full face of makeup, you can guess that it was easy for me to become a target of very hurtful words. I felt belittled, and honestly not because of wearing makeup, but just because somehow my sexuality was tied to something that made me feel strong. And I'm not gonna lie, I've always felt like I've been a more feminine guy from all the things I enjoy, but constantly hearing such conversations, I was starting to become insecure. Was liking these things a sign? Was my sexuality tied to my hobbies? It was a very confusing time, and I felt small, like there was something wrong with me. But it wasn't until I moved out of the Midwest to New York City that things began to make more sense. I met so many different kinds of people, real men who proudly watched sports but also cared about things like fashion, men who painted their nails without shame and are still passionate about something like boxing. Being around that diversity helped me to realize something big. My manhood isn't defined by the things I enjoy, but defined by the confidence to embrace every part of me regardless of what other people think. So even if I were too flamboyant for someone's taste, that wouldn't matter. What matters is that I am proud of myself for who I am, because if I don't represent myself, nobody else will. So I'll go out there with my full face of makeup, do makeup on the train or wherever it is, because I choose to be unapologetically myself.
Can I say a line?
You want to say a line?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, I don't want to be on camera though. Dear younger Kai, I know your life was boring, but you'll meet me soon.
Thank you. A word from my future girlfriend. This is her emotional pickle that I'm using as my mic. Emotional support pickle. I will always be around to let you know that you are a big deal. But anyways, guys, it's the end of the night. I have a lot of pimple cream on me right now because I'm going through an active breakout. But hey, I think I deal with it a lot better than how I used to when I was younger. Nowadays, my girlfriend's super guilty of this, but even when I get like pimples, I don't pop them. I just let it be. And
Why are you calling me out?
I just let it be. I learned to just embrace it, you know? If it's a pimple, it's gonna go away. And I think that's kind of the mentality I adopted. And I realized that a lot of the things or struggles I go through is never forever. Nothing is ever set in stone. So if I could tell my younger self everything that I went through with the acne, with feeling stuck with where I was living at, or just learning to be confident with the things I loved, that it was all purposeful and it led to an important place that I am at in my life right now. So I think it was all worth it, and I definitely think everything happens for a reason. So in a way, I am glad I went through the struggles I did go through because it made me a stronger person at the end of the day. Oh, and there was one more thing. If there's another lesson I want you guys to take away from this video, is that you can grow out of a place. And as much as you can make the best of a certain situation, it comes to a point where it may just not serve you enough. Go to a place where you are not just tolerated, but rather you are celebrated. And that's what I will end with tonight. And say goodbye to our little support pickle. Because you and I, we're a big deal. Sorry.